Hi everyone, it's me Terry of the Yarn Joy podcast. Happy Wednesday everybody. Well, it's Wednesday, so that means that it's time for crafting with friends. How's everybody doing? I hope you all had a great weekend. This past Saturday we had the ladies craft day that I went to, and I got a lot done that day. I had taken the Eventually a Granny square blanket. That was the Blanket Bonanza project. I took that and I finished it all there except for like the border. And so I finished up that border like the next day here at home. And yeah, so I was able to finish that. I finished the Christmas in July collab, what did I make? Oh, the mistletoe. So I worked on that first. I finished it except for hadn't made the bow part because I forgot to take my red yarn. And so then I started working on that Eventually a Granny blanket, and I did a lot on that. So those were the two projects that I took to work on. It was a really nice get together. Normally there'll just be a small table of us that are doing like handwork. I always take crochet most of the time. And there usually is one or two other ladies that are crocheting, and then my friend Amy, a lot of time, well, she'll be sitting there too, but she usually is either doing a hand stitched quilt that she's working on, or she has some embroidery or something, needlework that she's working on, and usually that's it. Usually that's about all. But this time we had such a big table. We had a table full. We just kept scooting over when somebody else would come, so they could get there at the table. Yeah, we had some new people. We had, let's see, there was one lady that was she was knitting. Yeah, and I think I'd seen her before, but it'd been a while. And then I was there, Amy was there, Kelly of Crafting in Texas, she was there, and she was crocheting. And then there was another lady that was crocheting that I usually see her, when I go. And then there was there was like three ladies that were new that had just read it, I think, because it takes place at a church. And it was like in their church bulletin, I guess, or announcements, about the craft group. And so that's how these three, I think. Well, one of them actually had heard about us at a quilt shop, I think, and came. But anyway, so one lady, she was working on some quilted applique squares that she was gonna put together in either a quilt or make pillow tops. I don't know what she was gonna do. She hadn't decided what she was gonna do with the squares, but she was working on that. There was another lady, and she had a lap blanket or lap quilt, and she was doing the binding part to finish it up, the handwork on it. And then there was another lady that came, and she was knitting. And so, yeah, we had a big full table. Most of the time, most of the people that are there are quilters, and we always let them have the tables that are around the perimeter of the room, because they can be close to the outlet, the power plugs, to plug in their sewing machines. And so there was only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 ladies that were doing that. And then there was one lady that was using a table to cut out some quilt pieces. And I think that was all of us that was there this time. So, I mean, we had a good sized group. Normally we usually have a few more even than that. But anyway, it was so fun. I enjoyed meeting the new ladies. I hope that they will come back. We had a good time visiting and talking about all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it was real good. Very productive that day. So that's what I did on Saturday. Yeah. And let's see, what else did we do? Yeah, that was about it. And then we stayed around the house the rest of the weekend. My husband actually had to go into work on that day on Saturday for a little bit. And so, yeah, it was busy but productive weekend. So what else is going on? Monday, I did my video for the mistletoe, which is the Christmas in July collab. And so I need to start a new project for that. I have an idea of what I want to make, but I haven't started it yet. So probably be good for me to get started on that this evening. And then let's see, Tuesday I did the blanket bonanza. I showed that eventually a granny blanket. We rolled the dice and I got a new project. And so I had mentioned, oh, and just FYI, so the new project is the blanket called Field of Daisies. I will link Tuesday's video. That was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday's video, because today's Wednesday. I'll link it down below in the description box. Yesterday's video where I talk about it, and you see that blanket. That's going to be the new one. Well, anyway, in that video, I said that there was a tutorial, and I thought you could just follow the tutorial and do the video. Make the blanket. But when I looked at the video, started looking at it, I think in that one, that tutorial, it just kind of shows you like a sample. She does like a small sample version of the blanket. And so I went ahead and went over and purchased the written pattern. I think it was like $6. See, I went to the tutorial, and then in the description box of the tutorial, there was a link that went to her Etsy shop where you could purchase the written pattern, and I went ahead and purchased it. And so I haven't started working on it yet. I looked at it a little bit, but I have it on my computer. I want to print it out, and I haven't done that yet. So I did pick out the yarn for it, so I'm ready that far. So that's what I was working on for that. I pulled out Monday and yesterday. I spent some time in here in the craft room, cleaning and reorganizing, and mainly putting things back where they belonged. You know, where I pull stuff out and don't put it back. Yeah, I'm real bad about that. Anyway, so I got things straightened up in here, and I found a project that I was thinking, oh, you know, I really better go ahead and just finish that project up. And I talked about this on Monday, but it was the squares that I was making in the Dallas Cowboy colors. Last year, it was a crochet along by Jada in Stitches, and it was like a square per month. And I was making 2 of each square per month, but just changing the color combination of it, but using the Dallas Cowboy colors. Well, I had gotten 20 squares done, and then I guess, I mean, if I would have done every month, it would have been 24. I know one of them had a 3D flower right in the middle of it, and I decided I didn't want to do that one. And then I'm not sure what, I guess I just didn't do December square. I don't know. But anyway, I had 20. And so I found them. They were just, you know, under my desk over here. This, not desk. I have a cutting table type setup over here, over there. And so I got, it was in a plastic container underneath the desk, and so pulled them out, and then so I started working on them, and I decided I needed to make 4 more squares, which I just made basic granny squares, but just altered the different ways I'd put the colors together, and so that gave me 24. So I've decided I'm going to do a 4x6 layout of the squares, and but I decided to use a charcoal type color, and I'm going around them another round with just a granny stitch, no matter what the square is. And then I'm doing a join as you go with that granny square to put them together. And so I've got them halfway done. I've got 4x3 right now. So I have 3 more rows of 4 to you know, to put together. So, but I'll show it tomorrow in my regular Yarn Joy podcast episode, and maybe I'll get another row done tonight, you know, attached. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. And what else? Oh, today I ran some errands. That's why this video is coming out a little later in the evening, because I had to pick up a prescription. I had to go to the grocery store and get a few items. My husband went to Sam's on Monday, but I had a few things that, you know, you just can't get at Sam's, and so I went today and picked up a few items. And then also, though, I had heard on, I believe, let me think. I think it was on Instagram. I think that's where it was at. That there was a crochet duo. I guess there are two, I suppose, because the name of their crochet company or what, I don't know what you call it, company, but anyway, it's called Twin Stitches, and it's here in San Antonio. I'm assuming they're twin sisters or something. I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I'm following them now on Instagram. Anyway, they were putting together they come up with a program called a stitch of kindness. I believe that's what it is. And so they were calling all crocheters, you know, to, especially like local area ones, to donate crocheted toys, you know, amigurumi, stuffies, loveys, that sort of thing. And they are collecting them, and they're going to be distributing them. They're going to Kerrville, where all the flooding was and all the awful devastation. And so they are going to be taking them and distributing them. I think I don't know who they were taking it to, but whoever it was, they're going to distribute them to the children who have lost their homes. You know, they survived the flooding, you know, but they've lost their homes and their toys and all their belongings, you know. And so anyway, they were collecting amigurumi and stuffed toys to donate. And so I decided, and they had given information that you could take it to a local yarn shop here up until this coming Friday, the 18th. So see, it's just kind of a last minute thing. But I went ahead, since I went and looked through my thing. See, I still have some back there, but I don't know if you noticed there would be a few iguns missing. And then I had some that was in a closet also. And so I sacked up 2 sacks of amigurumis, and I was going to donate 2 of the items that I ended up donating was Bax the bear, which I just made. Remember him with the striped shirt? I went ahead, and he was so cute, but I went ahead and put him in the bag because I think that somebody would really love him. And then the elephant that has been back here on my shelf, but it was from the same pattern, the chai, coffee, crochet, those patterns. Anyway, I put those 2 in the bag. I had a dinosaur that I put in there that I had crocheted. It was part of a crochet along. And then I had an actual doll that I crocheted, and I put that in there. The Sleepy Fox, I did that a while back, and I still had him, and so I put him in there. Anyway, I had like 6 items. I didn't take pictures of them before I donated them. I just sacked them up and took them, you know. And so where I took them was one of the local yarn shops here, and it's one that's across town from me, so I don't normally go there very often, like never. But anyway, I drove over there and took them, and of course I had to look around the yarn shop. I hadn't been in a yarn shop in a long time, except for, you know, Joann's or Michael's, you know, that sort of thing. And so I decided to go in, and I gave them the items, and then I went in and looked around. And so I did buy 2 pattern books. They have fancy yarn there, and I don't usually use that fancy, what I call fancy yarn, you know, the one that's like super washed wool and the fancy brands, you know, like merino wool and I don't know, the different brands. But anyway, but it was fun going in there, and they had lots of other, like, you know, crochet hooks and knitting needles and all these notions. And I mean, it was just really fun to look through everything. And they had knitting gauges and tape measures and, you know, knitting yarn needles. And they had some pattern books. Of course, they had more knitting pattern books than crochet, but they did have some crochet books. And so I bought 2 books. Let me show you the first one. Well, one's not a book, but anyway, I'll show you the book. This was a pattern book that's got baby blankets in it, and I haven't seen this book, and I kind of flipped through it a little bit, and I thought, oh, these baby blankets are so pretty, and they're all like stitch sampler baby blankets where they have like multiple stitches in it, and I like blankets like that because it keeps my interest. Anyway, it's this book right here, Crochet Stitch Sampler Baby Blankets, right there. Okay, it says 30 Afghans to Explore New Stitches by Christy Simpson. I'll look for it on Amazon and see if I can find it. I'm sure it's probably on there. And then I'll link it down below in the description box. But that's the book that I picked up. There's some really pretty baby blankets in here. Some of them are solid colors. Oh, and the pictures are so cute. Each one's have really cute pictures, little kid, children in it. But anyway, here's one, and it looks like it's got this stitch at the bottom. See that stitch, like a peacock feather type stitch, and then it's solid in the middle, and then on the other end it's got this section also. But I thought, oh, look at that, you could do it like peacock feathers, or you could either even do it in like ocean colors, be like fish, like mermaid tail scales or whatever. Anyway, I was thinking you could do different things with that. So I thought that was cute, really nice. Oh, and this one is squares. You have to make the squares and put them together. I would probably find a way maybe to join as you go. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there's some really pretty blankets in here, I think. And just some really interesting. Oh, here's a log cabin one that I thought was really interesting. A lot of these, though, see, they don't have them where the blanket is spread out really well. Now, here they kind of do. But that's the only thing I would say is I wish they'd have each blanket laid out flat so then you can see it instead of, I mean, they're cute being posed by babies and stuff, but it just it's harder to kind of see what the blanket is going to be. But here's a log cabin one, but it's an interesting stitch. I don't know what stitch that is, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Anyway, got this book. I'll be making things out of that. And then I got this. It's one of those perpetual calendar things, and it's a year of crochet stitches. And it's 365 different stitch patterns. And I thought, I mean, I probably wouldn't, I don't think I'd do it every day for a year, but I mean, it doesn't have a year on it, so you can do them anytime. But yeah, and there's a colored picture that shows you the stitch, what it looks like. I've had stitch books before, but the pictures would be like in black and white and stuff like that. Like, see, they're in different colors. And it tells you the multiple, so then you can make it as big as you want. And it's instructions on how to make that particular stitch pattern. Anyway, yeah, there's lacy type patterns, filet crochet type patterns, looks like. Anyway, I think you do halfway and then you flip it over and then you've got the rest of the year on that side. That looks like a good border, possibly. Anyway, I picked that up. I thought that was interesting. And then they had a couple of free patterns that I found, and I got one of those. Here's one. It says Ben the Clownfish, but it looks like Nemo to me. But anyway, there you go. Crochet pattern. And then I picked up this one. It's like a mandala design, but they made it into a pillow. So I thought that was interesting. So I picked up that sheet. And then they had this little area that had chairs where people can go and sit and hang out and crochet and knit, and visit. I guess maybe they might have weekly, groups that come and crochet and knit and do that there and weave and whatever. Okay. Anyway, each chair had some sort of crochet project draped on it, on the back of it or whatever. And they had this one, it was a round baby blanket kind of size, but I really liked it. A lot of texture, and it just looked like it would be fun to make. And there was a tag on it that said the name of the pattern and I think who designed it. But then it also said on there, free in-store pattern. And then I asked the lady about it, and she said, yeah, she says, if you want to copy the pattern, we can print it off for you and give it to you. And I said, oh yeah, I'd like to have that pattern. And so they printed it for me, and it's lots of pages. So I think it's very detailed. I haven't looked at all the pages, but it looks to me like, yeah, there's like lots of pictures. And they put it in plastic sleeve for me. But I think it takes you like row by row, and there's see the pictures. And anyway, I thought it was pretty. So let me show you. I thought this would be pretty with either where you do change colors yourself, or even a set like a mandala or something that's got like a long color change, you know, the cakes. Anyway, here it is. Isn't that pretty? I think that's pretty. And I'm thinking that you could probably make it as big or as small as you want, possibly just by, you know, keep repeating or something, I suppose. It's called the Flower Puddles Ripples Blanket. I'll try to find it on Ravelry and see if it's on, maybe in Ravelry, I don't know. It's by madlandia.com. It may be even on their website, probably. Anyway, I think it's pretty. And I thought, oh yeah, I want to print that out. And it, you know, it might be added to my blanket bonanza someday, or once I get through all those or something. I don't know. Anyway, they were so nice to print it out, all those pages for me. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing that today. Okay, I've talked a whole lot and haven't talked about the Crafting with Friends project. So last week we had the results of the vote, and the Christmas stocking was the one that won the vote, and it is the Sampler Friends stocking by Snappy Tots right there. Now I did this in 2021 for my grandbaby, and of course I put his name across there, and so I want to make another one for my grandbaby, you know, that will be arriving before Christmas. And so I wanted to do another one, but change the colors up a little bit. And so that's what won the vote. So I started on that. I think I have changed the colors some already. I think a lot of it will be the same. I'm thinking that I'm going to change the color of the hair of the elf. And like that scarf right there, I'll change that to some other color, you know. But then down here at the bottom, I may leave that the same, the red and the green, possibly. Anyway, let me show you how much I've gotten done. This is what I've gotten done so far. So I've gotten the reindeer part and the red part that's at the top above that right there, see? And so it said in the pattern to go ahead and finish off the face and the ears and all that, attach that with the antlers and do all that while it's this size. So that way it's easy to get inside, you know, to attach things from the inside or whatever. And so I'm going to do that. So I've made the nose so far, which was just a black circle. And then I've made the two eyes. They had said to use buttons for the pupils of the eyes, but I just used black yarn, tied it in a knot, good knot, overhand, but I went overhand like 4 times and pulled it into, so then it's a good size knot, you know. And then I tied it into the middle of the white circles that I made for the eyes. So I did that. I just have to attach it. And then of course I got to make the ears and the antlers. And they have a little pom-pom there for his hair, I guess. Anyway, haven't done that part, but that's what I'm working on next. And then, of course, I will stitch this string of lights in there on the red section. And then once I do that, then I will continue on, you know, with it. Anyway, I think the reindeer is going to be a little bit different color than what I used before, because I think what I used is what the pattern called for, which was Red Heart Super Saver Buff, this one, and then this was Cafe Latte, and these are not. This is like I think this is Red Heart Super Saver Warm Brown, I think, and then this is a Big Twist. I can't remember what it's called. It's not Rust, because that would have more red in it, but it was some Big Twist yarn. But anyway, I thought it was a good enough contrast between those two colors. Yeah. Now I'll probably use Buff for the antlers, I think. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I've gotten done so far on it. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Okay, so that is my Crafting with Friends project, and I talked about what I had gotten at the store, at the yarn shop. I talked about the donation that I made for a Stitch of Kindness. I can link down below the link to the Instagram group, the Twin Stitches. I believe that's what their group is called. That's doing this donation, but I think they want to get the things donated or delivered by June the 26th. And so, you know, unless you're local, I don't know if you would have time to get them get them shipped to them. I don't know, but I will link them down below, their Instagram link, so then you can check that out. Okay. I just found out about it just like last minute, just a few days ago. And so I just happened to have some things that were already crocheted that I stuck in the bag to donate to them. So that worked out. What else? I think that's it. Yeah. I need to go ahead and print out my Blanket Bonanza, the next blanket, that Field of Daisies blanket. I'm going to go ahead and do that when I get off of here while I and edit the video. And maybe get a little start on that. I'm anxious to get started on it. I think it's going to be a fun pattern. That, and I still haven't finished that preemie hat, the sloth. I'm so close to being finished with it. So I want to get it finished before tomorrow's video. So then it'll be a finished item. So I'll probably work on that this evening. Oh, I did finish a diamond painting project. A small one of the ones I just recently showed you. I'll show that tomorrow completed. Yeah. So that's probably what I'm going to be working on tonight. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go. I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. Come back tomorrow. We'll have another visit for the regular Yarn Joy podcast episode. And I will show you the Dallas Cowboy squares I'm putting together and other, I don't know, other stuff. But anyway, come back tomorrow and we'll have a visit again, okay? In the next video. Bye.